and related to the topic being discussed. The views expressed on Sound Off are those of the hosts or callers and do not represent the opinion of 96.7 The Eagle, Spoon River Media LLC, or the sponsors. The Liquor Vault on-air line is now open for your calls or texts at 219-362-0522. This is Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle.
Hello, friends. My name is Nate Laux, and you're listening to Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle. In the studio with me today is LaPorte County Council President Randy Novak. If you have a question for Mr. Novak, call or text the Liquor Vault on-air line at 219-362-0522 or email me, soundoff@967theeagle.com. But first, it's time for On This Day in History. It was on this day in 1783 that the American Revolution officially came to an end when representatives of the United States, Great Britain, Spain, and France signed the Treaty of Paris. Britain acknowledged the United States, which was New Hampshire, Massachusetts Bay, Rhode Island and Providence plantations, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia to be free, sovereign, and independent states, and that the British Crown and all its heirs and successors relinquished claims to the government, property, and territorial rights of the same in every part thereof. The treaty also set the boundaries between the British Empire in North America and the United States of America. Britain formally recognized the independence of its 13 American colonies and the new boundaries, Florida to the north to the Great Lakes and the Atlantic coast west to the Mississippi River. One interesting aspect of the negotiations is that Benjamin Franklin, a key negotiator for their new American states, demanded that Britain hand over Canada to the United States. This did not pass, as some negotiations don't work out. And as our guest will say, politics is all a compromise, but America did gain enough new territory south of the Canadian border to double its size. The Treaty of Paris was ratified by the Continental Congress on January 14, 1784, and was a major moment in defining and determining the future of these United States. And that, my friends, is on this day in history. Joining me on today's show is LaPorte County Council President Randy Novak. If you have a question for Mr. Novak, call or text the Liquor Vault on-air line at 219-362-0522 or email soundoff@967theeagle.com. President Novak, how are you, sir?
Very good, thank you.
How was your week?
You know, it's been a great week. The weather's better. It's not as humid, so everything is good.
You are one of our leading people for COVID in that you run our weekly meeting. We have a nonprofit meeting where nonprofits come. The schools, the governmental leaders, all are in this meeting, and you lead this meeting. So you often have a kind of a broad view of what's happening. What is happening with COVID in LaPorte County right now? So
at yesterday's meeting, and we have the health department, the hospitals, health care foundation, everybody's on there.
And Nate Laux.
Yeah. Every now and then.
Yeah. I try to be.
But so the thing that's going on right now is the county's in the orange. So the number of positive cases in the county are up. The health department is currently working to try and get a testing site over into LaPorte again, similar to what they had at the auditorium, but it will not be the same vendor. But in the meantime, HealthLink does provide testing in LaPorte. So there is a site that you can go there and get that done. In Michigan City, the health department is over on 8th Street. They do testing. Michigan City Hospital, Franciscan, is looking at opening their testing drive-through again. So there's a lot of things happening. The numbers have been pretty consistent with about, I'd say 40, just into the 50s people positive per day. So our numbers are up. We get those numbers every day. And then they also report deaths. I think we had a couple in the last. We haven't had that many, thank God. But LaPorte, Michigan City Franciscan Health reported that they're currently on a diversion, which means the hospital's completely full. So if you go there with a health issue and you need a bed, they're going to transport you to another hospital. You're not going to stay there. They have, I think it was somewhere between 13 to 15 COVID patients in-house. The same thing with Northwest Hospital. So it's It's bad. But there's also a lot of, the hospital isn't just filled with COVID patients. I mean, they're kind of overloaded right now with a lot of health issues. So,
yeah, there's a lot of, from what I understand too, as people are not wearing masks as much, and if you've been vaccinated, these kind of things, there's a lot of other illnesses going on. People are catching illnesses. People are getting colds and flus. There's things that they didn't have before. So obviously, which always makes it interesting when you get sick and you're wondering, is this the plague or not, right?
Right. And Mayor Dermody announced yesterday that starting, I don't know if it was effective immediately, but their last council meeting, all city employees that are not vaccinated have to wear masks and be tested weekly. So,
is the county talking about something like that or no?
That is a commissioner's thing. So the state took it out of the health department's hands, so to speak. But the county would be the one, the commissioners would be the one to oversee that. So they were on the meeting. They've got the information. So I don't know that they're going to be making any changes, but.
Yeah, and again, I'll say this because I know I'll probably get a text from Mayor Dermody if I don't. It is not mandating vaccines, but it is if you're not vaccinated, you do need to wear a mask and get tested regularly. Correct.
Whether you're at work or in a city vehicle.
Okay.
So, and the other thing I would just want to say is, there are so many moving parts to this whole COVID thing and keeping everybody healthy, and there's a lot of people out there that'll throw criticism out there and stuff, whether it's regarding, what the county's doing, what the cities are doing, what the schools are doing. And they got to understand these are moving parts, and everybody's trying to do what's best because you got pressure from both sides. You not only, you want to keep everybody safe, but you also want to keep everything moving and working as much as possible. So it's a huge balancing act. So until you put yourself in those shoes, be courteous and just respectful, and people are trying to do their best. We've been doing that call almost every Thursday since April of this last year. It's been over a year. So
I don't think people fully sometimes realize what it is for a leader to make these decisions, to say, okay, we're not going to mask or we're not going to do these things, yet knowing that potentially somebody could get sick and die, as different schools and organizations have had employees that have gotten sick at work or something like that die. And it does weigh heavily on a leader to say what is the right decision. Obviously, I can speak, I think, authoritatively for most people to say, yeah, most of us are tired of masking, right? Mm-hmm. Most of us are tired of all of it. But there's also the reality that I know my wife's an ICU nurse. There's a lot of doctors that I speak with, and this isn't over yet. So
absolutely. And, and the thing is you might not be afraid of catching it. I mean, because, different people react differently to it. But if you've got it and you give it to a loved one, you give it to a parent that's at home or a sick relative or somebody that has a weakened immune system, and they die. We just need to get it under control, and so it's a balancing act. So
we've got Randy Novak, Council President, LaPorte County Council President, on the show today. If you have a question for Mr. Novak, call or text the Liquor Vault on air line at 219-362-0522, or email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. So, filling the headlines lately has been talk of the drawbridge in Michigan City. It's an interesting project, and we've tried to explain to our listeners a little bit of why this project is a little more difficult than typical projects, because there's also so many other key stakeholders in the drawbridge, right? You've got the city of Michigan City that's very interested in what's going on, though they don't own the drawbridge, right?
Correct.
You've got the Coast Guard that's going to want to dictate some of what happens and have a voice in some of that as well,
I wouldn't say some of that. They dictate a lot of it because it's a navigable, say that 3 times, waterway, and they're the ones that actually, that's what makes it have to function.
And it's a historic bridge, so you've got these other things going on, but the county then is the entity that has to pay for it, though. So and I don't know if people fully realize this, that sometimes in government you have different entities that get to make decisions, but only one entity that has to pay for it, and this is kind of one of those things. So take us through, for our listeners that have been trying to follow this. I think now the drawbridge, has an agreement that it will get at least fixed somewhat to get workable again, but it's not an agreement that's going to fix the bridge permanently, correct?
Correct. The plan is somewhat of a 5-year plan. And this first phase was a $1.5 million, and it's to replace some some parts in there. And being a historical bridge, if we have to replace a gear or we have to replace bolts and mechanisms, those have to be forged. They have to be manufactured exactly the way they are. So you can't go, there's no store, you don't buy them offline, they have to be manufactured, handmade, and put in there. So the bridge has to stay historically intact. So that is the big thing that makes that bridge so expensive. To replace that bridge, you're talking anywhere from $40 to $60 million to replace the entire bridge.
And getting more expensive all the time, for sure.
All the time. And so we utilize the contractor that we have. They've been working on the bridge for 40-some years. They select items to fix, and we've got kind of a 5-year plan. And we think that that's going to buy us quite a bit of time. And you got to understand, it's going to cost you $40 to $60 million. We don't have that kind of money. So that we got to require federal funds, everything else. It probably will never happen in our lifetime that bridge gets replaced. Obviously, at some point, something major has to happen with that bridge. We had a study done. I got a message the other day said, hey, just put in an overpass like in LaPorte. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't be orange, Mayor Dermody. Just saying. But the reality of that is it would take such a long approach and such a long whatever you call it, coming down in the park. It's not feasible. I mean, because you're really restricted there. So we've looked at that. So fixing it is the best option right now. And so it's actually cheaper to spend the money to fix it, do some scheduled maintenance on it as we're doing, and getting those things fixed, and it's buying us time.
Can we talk real quick? I hope this doesn't, too much, but a little bit about the controversy about the Novak contract, because like you said, you have a company that's been working on this bridge for years and years. They know the bridge really well. Mm-hmm. And so there was an agreement to go, because this bridge needs fixed, right? You need people getting over this bridge. You need these things. And so from what I understand, the county decided between the commissioners and the council, bipartisan from the council, to agree that let's just go with this company to fix these problems right now without putting it out to bid, because there is some kind of emergency nature to this. So why did you make that decision? So it's we didn't declare it an emergency, just mm-hmm. for clarification. If it was broke, we would declare it an emergency, and then we could move forward with it like that. We believe that it was a specialty purchase. So in other words, the bridge is so unique and the contractor is so unique that it would be more waste of money and it would cost the county taxpayer so much more money if we were to start the bid process and go out for bids, because we would have to engineer every nut and bolt in there, which would be somewhere between $2 to $4 million to have that entire bridge completely designed. So they would have to engineer every little piece of that and put it in paper in a document. And then you would have to go out for bids. And then you'd have people come in that never been on the bridge, never seen the bridge. And it would the cost would be astronomical. And the time probably as well, right?
Well, not to mention the time. That would be a 2-year process. So that would kick the ball 2 years down the road with getting nothing. So,
all right. Well, we're going to go to break real quick. We're going to get to your calls as soon as we get back. We got some texts coming in. We've got Randy Novak, the LaPorte County Council President, on the show today. You're welcome to call or text the Liquor Vault on air line at 219-362-0522 or email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. Hey, stay where you're at. We'll be right back here on 96.7 The Eagle.
Hi, this is Michael Morrison with the New York Blower Company. The New York Blower Company has been in business for more than 132 years, and we are continuing to expand products and services worldwide. We are an industry leader in manufacturing premium quality engineered fans and blowers to the marketplace. If you have welding and production experience, I would like to personally invite you to apply for our available positions. We offer a complete benefits package with competitive wages. Come see what sets us apart from the rest. Visit nyb.com or visit us on Facebook to apply today.
Join 96.7 The Eagle every Sunday morning from 9 to 9:30 a.m. for Bethany Church's Sound Up. Enlighten your Sunday morning with inspirational words of faith from Pastor Dennis Meyer. Bethany Church's Sound Up every Sunday morning from 9 to 9:30 a.m. on 96.7 The Eagle.
Now at Menards, save big money in your next project with 11% off everything. Enjoy the fresh air with a new Larson Storm Door with over 400 styles that will match your home and features like a screen-away retractable screen. Larson Storm Doors are all 11% off. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through September 6th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Hey, who's hungry? Because I've got a deal for you. Dennis Siddell here to introduce you something new to the Morning Mayhem. Every weekday at 6:55, it's Denny's Diner. Yep, Joe and I will cook up some trivia questions, and if you have the correct answer, you'll be the winner of a $20 gift card from either JJ's Sideout Bar and Grill, the Burger Bar and Grill, Ringer Sports Bar and Grill, Nowhere Bar and Grill, or T-Berry's Diner. So join us weekdays for Denny's Diner at 6:55 on the Morning Mayhem for your chance to win here on 96.7 The Eagle.
If you're not already banking at Grand Heritage Federal Credit Union, you may be wondering what the differences are between us and others, like banks. Come in today and let us show you how you can put more money in your pocket by banking with Grand Heritage, a credit union, like free checking, Christmas clubs, auto loans as low as 2.74% with terms up to 84 months, Visa credit card with low fixed rate of 9.95% with no annual fees, children's accounts with no fees and no minimum balances, just to name a few of our services. For your convenience, we also have 3,000 plus shared branches, not only in Indiana, but across the United States. And when you call, you get a real person on the line, not some automation. Stop in today. Start benefiting as others have with Grand Heritage, here locally since 1964 at 201 Kumler Drive, LaPorte. Your money is federally insured by NCUA at Grand Heritage Federal Credit Union.
Michiana weather.
With partial sun along with some cloudiness this afternoon. Highs will stay in the upper 70s. Southeast winds 5 to 10. Isolated showers possible tonight with a low near 60. From the Weather Center at HometownNewsNow.com. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, 74.
Thank you for tuning in to Sound Off. You can now text or email your questions directly to the studio. Call or text 362-0522 or email your questions to soundoff@967theeagle.com. This is Sound Off.
Welcome back, friends. My name is Nate Laux, and you're listening to Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle. Glad to have you here. In the studio with me today is LaPorte County Council President Randy Novak. If you have a question for Mr. Novak, call or text the Liquor Vault on-air line at 219-362-0522 or email soundoff@967theeagle.com. Let's get to our first caller. Hello, you're on Sound Off. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks for calling. What's your question for Council President Novak?
Mr. Novak, sir, how are you?
Good, and you?
Good. Hey, so I have kind of a twofer question here. Number one, I think one of the issues that I am faced talking to people about every day with COVID is, and I'm asking you because this is probably questions and reasons people have objections or issues with the vaccine. If you don't get the vaccine, you can catch it and get sick and spread it. If you do have the vaccine, you can catch it, spread it, and get sick. The only upside to it, and this is, the odds are you're probably going to have less issues with it if you catch it, if you have the vaccine. Again, that's with no knowledge of human trials on the vaccine. And secondly, the death rate of people below 60 in the entire country is like 0.5%. So my question is, maybe that's something that these guys are having issues with when people are pushing people to get the vaccines. Maybe people are like, I'd rather take my chance without it, for the simple fact that I'm not affecting someone else who doesn't have it, because I'm the one going to be suffering from it. And since the death rate is 0.5% or 0.75% nationwide, anybody under the age of 40 is probably going to do reasonable with it if they don't have issues. Now, if they have medical issues, I can understand that maybe you have a better chance you should get it. But I'm just throwing that out there because I get asked this all the time. The questions are, what the heck's the point in taking it if you can catch it and spread it?
All right, yeah, go ahead.
The second question, real quick, and I'll let you go, is about the bridge. I mean, I understand where we're at contractually with maintaining the bridge, but who is overall using that bridge? If we're talking, the Coast Guard or whatever there, but it seems to me that the boats that go underneath that are a lot of yachts and sailboats and personally owned craft. Is that true or not? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you. So I'll take the easy one first. Yes, there are a lot of boats that go underneath that bridge, and there are some big boats that go underneath that bridge. The county owns majority of all the bridges in the county, except for some highway bridges that go over major.
That state or federal government owns.
Correct.
Right?
We own all the bridges. So there's 200 and some bridges in the county. I think there's 6 major bridges which span more than 200 feet, and we have one special bridge, and that's the Franklin Street Bridge. So we're required to maintain that bridge, and we can. The boats go underneath it, but the traffic goes over it, and we're required by the federal government to maintain that because it's a navigable waterway. Period. The next item on the vaccines. I'm in no way, shape, or form an expert on vaccines, or, I'm not the medical person that.
You haven't been vaccinated, though, correct?
I have 3 times. So because of my health issues, I've gotten vaccinated. I will tell you this: I do not believe the information that you just mentioned is accurate based on the information I get from the healthcare officials and everyone else. That it's no different. Why should you get vaccinated? I guess the thing is, as I stated before, you might be strong and you might feel confident that you could do it. You would get vaccinated so you don't give it to somebody else that you care about, or even somebody you don't care about, and they would get sick and they would die. So it's not just, this isn't about me personally, it's about us collectively. So that's what we have to look at when it comes to the vaccines. I would really challenge all the numbers and everything that you just gave, because they're not the same numbers that I've heard.
All right, here's a question that kind of goes along with that we received from the text line. How does the county feel about the city getting an overpass on Tipton Street, which then the county would be responsible for?
Well, we haven't had that conversation. That
it hasn't even. I don't think it's come to you yet, right?
It hasn't even come to us that we're going to be taking responsibility for that. So,
all right, let's get to another caller before break. Hello, you're on Sound Off. Thanks for listening. Thanks for calling. What's your thought? What's your question for Councilperson Novak?
Well, first off, I want to say hello to both of you, Nate and Randy. Can I call you Randy?
Absolutely.
Okay. My name's Debbie Moss, and I've been listening to this problem in the county council for a while now. It's like everywhere you go, people are making jokes about the way people get along. My question is, I understand the sheriff not wanting to get involved, and you're considering private security to monitor things, but have you ever thought about having a citizen's arrest done, and maybe a few of us ought to step up and go to a meeting? Or have you even thought about impeaching Mr. Stamos, since my grandma used to say the horse who does the most kicking does the least work?
All right, thank you so much for calling. That's it. By the way, you better steal that saying.
Wow. So. You and I need to talk more. We need to become friends. But just for the record, there's I've really prided myself. I've been president. This is the 4th year that I've been president of the council, and I appreciate the fellow council members that feel as though I run a good meeting. But the purpose of the council meeting is to do the business of the council, to appropriate money and to do things that we need to do. The disruptions are not. They don't help anything. So that's why I try to keep everything on track, try to keep it focused. As far as the sheriff, I regret that things got as bad as they did at the council meeting. Trust me when I tell you that is not what anybody wants. And hopefully Mr. Stamos and myself sat down together after that for about an hour, had a talk. Hopefully everything's going to be better. I'm all about making it work. This isn't about blaming people for anything. We need to make it better. And it has not come across my desk that we're even considering a private security thing. So, but thank you.
All right. Well, we're going to take our last break of the show, and get back to your calls. We've got Council President, Randy Novak on the show today. If you want to call or text us, it's 219-362-0522. We've got some texts and calls we got to get to when we get back, but keep it right here on 96.7 The Eagle.
Ace is a place with the helpful hardware, folks.
When it's time to hit the road and go camping, tailgating, or having a picnic, the one thing you don't want to forget is the grill. The Weber Traveler Portable Gas Grill is now available at your local Cable & Ace Hardware. The Weber Traveler is for anyone who wants delicious grilled food away from home. Its sturdy design makes it easy to set up and a breeze to store. Stop into your local Cable at Ace Hardware today and check out the Weber Traveler Grill.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks. There's more than corn in Indiana. It's the best part of Americana, and it's right within your reach. It's Indiana Beach.
Indiana Beach wants to thank you for 95 years of family fun and tradition. Come ride the new triple looping Schwarzkopf coaster and the Sea Warrior. Get swept up in a hurricane and ride along on a falling star. Get all of this excitement and more with our daily admission ticket.
Proving once again there's more than corn in Indiana.
Tickets now available at indianabeach.com.
See you at the beach.
Since 1922, Hamilton Grove has been dedicated to providing the highest quality housing and care for older adults. Hamilton Grove Assisted Living has studio and one-bedroom maintenance-free apartments that offer assistance with daily independent living. They also accept the Medicaid waiver. Hamilton Grove is a religious-based, non-for-profit, handicap-accessible, and equal housing opportunity partner. Call them for your personal tour, 574-654-2250. Live here for the best of your life.
It's back for one day only. It's the annual roof set for the deserving children of LaPorte County. Hey, Dennis Siddell here to personally invite you to stop down here at 96.7 The Eagle on September the 10th and help us raise money for the Deserving Children Shopping Tour. This year marks our 19th year of raising money to take kids who are less fortunate Christmas shopping in December. We'll be serving lunch, offering fresh baked pies for sale, Indianapolis Colts tickets to raffle off, and of course, any and all donations. So mark your calendar and join me for the 19th annual roof set, September 10th, beginning at 5 a.m. right here on 96.7 The Eagle. Look at all the things I've collected over the years in here, Dave.
Why, Dad?
So you'll have many things to remember me by, and, I'm sure you can use it all someday.
But, Dad, I can't use all these things.
Yeah, but just think, it's all yours someday.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Dad. Is that a bumper I see buried with this stuff?
Oh, hey, I believe it's your mom's 1976 Pinto. And again, it's going to be yours someday.
Do you have things you don't need or want anymore? Are you tired of seeing things that you thought was a good idea to buy and then turn around and put it away in some corner of your garage? Well, you're in luck. At 96.7 The Eagle, we can help by reading your garage, rummage, estate, or yard sale during Tradio. All you need to do is visit hometownnewsnow.com, click on the Submit tab, and fill out the form, and we'll contact you for the payment. It's that simple. Of course, we do accept debit and credit cards for payment. So listen weekdays at 9:45 for your sale to be read live on 96.7 The Eagle, and check out the listings at hometownnewsnow.com.
Hey Hoosiers, train for your dream career for free. It sounds too good to be true, but Indiana needs more workers with career skills. For a limited time, tuition-free training programs are available through Indiana's Next Level Jobs program. With more than 125 different skills and certificate options available, you're sure to find the right fit to further your career. It's free to apply, and it only takes a few minutes to begin to change your life. Visit nextleveljobs.org. Sponsored by Indiana Commission for Higher Education.
We're waiting to hear from you. Dial or text 362-0522 and let us know what you think. That's 362-0522. Back to Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle.
Welcome back, friends. We've got Councilperson Novak, Randy Novak, on the show today. Here's a real quick one before I get to this call. Mr. Novak, will you please ask the health department to put a date on all their notices? It makes it easier to keep track of the latest notice. Thank you. Can you send that message on? All right,
Absolutely.
great.
I'll call right after we're done here.
All right. Let's get to another call. Hello. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks for calling. What's your question for Councilperson Novak?
Well, it's not so much a question as a comment today.
Sure.
Listening to these meetings any longer, I think Mr. Stables, and I'm not a fan of his, but I'm glad someone like him and Mr. Haney are standing up for the citizens' wallets, and the people cannot call downstate enough. I've called, I've had other people call, continue to call, folks. They're taking notice of this up here, that State Board of Accounts, Public Access Counselor, and the DLGF. They're taking notice of these things going on here, and so far, the only ones threatening anybody out of order, out of line, or anything else is Mr. Novak, Mr. Brzezinski, and Friedman. Thank you.
Excuse me. I did not threaten anyone. Here's the thing: you cannot disrupt a meeting, a public meeting. That's my only thing. I have not threatened Mr. Stables with anything other than when I'm speaking, you don't speak. When you want to speak, we'll give you a turn to speak. That's the only thing that I've ever asked of Mr. Stables, and I ask that of every member of the council and the public at our meetings, is we take turns, we don't speak over each other, we don't blurt things out. So you're absolutely incorrect at putting me in there that I have made any kind of threats against Mr. Stables. I get along great with Mr. Stables, and the only thing that I want to do is run a meeting. That's it. So,
all right, here's a comment we received online here. We've got Councilperson Randy Novak on the show. Hello, Councilman Novak. I noticed that there is some development taking place in a large field between the north side of the LaPorte Toll Road entrance and County Road 450 North. It looks like there are subdivision roads being cut in there or something. What is? Do you know anything that's happening there?
Is that out here on 39? Is that?
Looks like
Toll Road entrance.
Yeah.
I believe that's a housing development that's going in there. It's about 40 some units, but it's residential. It's all residential.
All right, let's get to another call. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks for calling. You're on Sound Off today with Councilperson Novak. What's your question?
Yes, I'm calling in regards to the bridge project also. This individual who is bidding this Marquis Electric, they have over the years probably taken in probably well over maybe $1 million, $2 million, and evidently it's not working. So why would you not have somebody come in and do another bid? You could have had this bid done before because you knew what it was that you were having a problem with this thing. And you made a statement here on this program that, well, you can't do it because you'd have to hire an engineer to do a study, which would take 2 years. They have to do every nut and bolt in the thing. Did Marquis Electric do every nut and bolt in there and make a bid? If I were the one, if I had a company like Marquis Electric bidding on this and I'm the only one bidding, you don't think that I would jack the bid up a little bit more? Because I know I'm going to get the bid. That's the purpose of bidding process. There's no emergency situation here. There's all kinds of ways to get into Long Beach, Sheraton Beach, the park without that bridge. So what the individual from the State Board of Accounts said was this does not qualify as such to be bid this way. It has to be bid according to Indiana Public Works law. Now, you're telling Stables, yeah, you're going to have to go pay for this thing, because we passed this. It's like me sitting in a car, and I tell you to go in and rob the bank. You get caught, and he comes out, and they arrest that guy, and he says, well, yeah, the guy in the car told me to go in, and I would be safe. Yeah, Stables is the one that's going to suffer for this situation.
All right.
Not you, not the board. You cannot pass something to overrule law. And you should know what the purpose of an auditor is. An auditor is there not just to record the items like.
All right, we do have more questions to get to. So go ahead, Councilperson Novak.
So to start on this, first of all, the bridge to bid it out, because Marquis Electric has been working on it for 42 years. The bridge is 85 years old. It is constantly, since we have never replaced the bridge, it is still 85 years old. If you had an 85-year-old car, you'd be constantly fixing things. Unfortunately, when you fix these things, it costs a lot of money. So we actually, and I know it's hard to imagine, but we're saving money by having Marquis Electric do this work. And they've been very responsive, and we're holding them to it. And the process, as far as the process goes, we would have to bid it because people aren't going to come in and bid it unless they know exactly what's there and what has to be done. So we would have to create that scope of work. And trust me when I'm telling you, this comes from the experts that it would take a 2-year process. It would all have to be engineered. It would all have to be done. This isn't me saying this. This is the experts saying this. This isn't me. As far as bidding it out, commissioners bid it. The council appropriates the money, period. We don't have anything to do with signing contracts, anything like that. As far as us telling the auditor to pay the bills, the way government in LaPorte County works is the commissioners sign the contracts, they pass the projects, the council funds it, and the auditor pays the bills. That's it. So we took the pressure off him. He has no liability to pay the bills the way that we're doing this project. The State Board of Accounts, it's not a law. It's a code. Codes every day, every month, the Board of Zoning Appeals makes a variance to building codes, which are codes, the same codes that say that you should bid this, you should do it this way. So there's an exception to all kinds of things in government. We believe this to be the best one, and we're not dumping this all on the auditor. We're trying to help the auditor with this. So,
and I believe, if I remember right, because I've been trying to follow this story, not only do you have the commissioner attorney, but you also have the council attorney and the previous council attorney, Doug Beege, also saying the same thing, correct? It is not, outside of the law to do this, correct?
And if you don't live in LaPorte, if you don't live in Michigan City and utilize that bridge all the time, it doesn't have the same meaning as the people that are in Michigan City that use that bridge. I mean, so to say that it's not a high priority and we can take the time to do it, I think you're drastically mistaken, and you need to talk to more people in Michigan City. So,
all right. Well, I want to thank so much for you listening to the show, for being on the show. We've got all kinds of different things coming up. We've got Michigan City Councilperson Bryant Dabney on the show coming up. We've got Mayor Dermody coming up again as well. I'm going to give our guest today the final word. What do you want to say?
So out at the fairgrounds, I got to give a little bit of plug. We have a tractor pull this weekend on Sunday. The beer gardens open on at 3 p.m. Beer gardens and food vendors. Tractor pulls at 6 p.m. That's going on out there. There's a fall fest at the fairgrounds September 11th, 8:30 to 3:30. No admittance charge. Anything on wheels cruise and a 20th annual draft horse event out there, and the artisan vendors. So there's a lot of good things going on, and trust me, it's like I said before, it's easy to criticize people when you're just sitting back and doing things. But I mean, there's a lot of tough decisions that have to be made, and I'm trying to make the best decisions we can.
And if our listeners want to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
My cell phone number is 219-877-7069, and my email is rnovak@laportecounty.in.gov.
Well, thanks so much for being on the show. It's always a joy to have you here with us today. Thanks so much for listening. I want to thank Dennis Siddell for producing today's episode. Thank Jeff Woogay